Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue sur Radio Télévisionnaire. Moi c'est Fabienne Divina. C'est toujours un plaisir pour notre la caillou pour nous informer de tout ça qui fait actualité. Ou même qui abonné déjà, nous disons merci pour support. Ou même qui peut abonner, nous encourager. Abonnez à la chaîne pour ne pas rater aucune nouvelle importante. Si vous aimez la vidéo, donnez un like, faites un commentaire et puis partagez. Ça va encourager nous pour nous porter plus d'informations pour vous. Jodi nous allons plonger dans un point essentiel qui sorti dans la rallye politique récent qui est là dans les leaders politiques, tant qu'ancien président Donald Trump, vice-président Kamala Harris, sénateur J.D. Vance et gouverneur Minnesota Tim Roth. Chaque leader a abordé questions importantes qui affectent la vie de chaque jour. Tant qu'avortement, immigration, économie et droit pour voter. Pendant que nous détaillons les messages, ak sa yo vle di pour la communauté, moi encourage pour participer dans la conversation. Sous une vidéo ça utile, tant pis, banou yon like, quittez un commentaire pour dire nous son pensée. Et suivez-nous pour plus de nouvelles importantes. Voir où gain importance. Et ensemble, nous can naviguer sur question ça yo qui est important en pile. Pour nous commencer, dans le dernier rassemblement, ancien président Donald Trump, vice-président Kamala Harris, sénateur J.D. Vance et gouverneur Tim Roth s'est concentré sur problème clé qui bral défini l'élection 2024 là. Donald Trump est dans North Carolina. Trump te parlé sur économie, indépendance énergie et immigration. Nous allons entendre déclaration ancien président Donald Trump, déclaration qui était faite sur immigration. Nous allons retourner tout de suite. Merci.
I had a feeling you would, right? You're great. As soon as I take office, we will immediately surge federal law enforcement to every city that is failing, which is a lot of them, to turn over criminal aliens, and we will hunt down, capture every single gang member, drug dealer, rapist, murderer, and migrant criminal that is being illegally harbored. Every one of the top 25 worst cities are Democrat-run cities. We will get them out of North Carolina, and we will send them home where they belong. I will ask Congress to pass a law outlawing sanctuary cities nationwide, and we will bring down the full weight of the federal government on any jurisdiction that refuses to cooperate with ICE and these are great patriots, ICE and Border Patrol and our great Border Patrol. They're not allowed to do their job. They want to do their job. They're not allowed. Within 2 years, there will not be one single foreign criminal gang operated in North Carolina or anywhere else. You have a lot of gangs. Hate to say it, you have a lot of gangs in this state. Are there any gang members in the audience, please? Would you please raise your hand? So that's the choice. Kamala Harris will fly criminal migrants into every one of your cities and towns. Did you see that? They're saying, well, we've decided to get tough on crime. You know, like 2 weeks ago, because they want to try and get some votes because they're not doing so good. This issue is not a good one for them. But did you see? And then we learned that they're flying them in beautiful, big, fat, beautiful Boeing aircraft, just like that one, with more seats, actually. I have fewer seats in mine than they do. But they fly them in with beautiful aircraft. They fly them all over the country by the hundreds of thousands. They're flying in over the border. So they don't want to stop them because they're continuing the flights into our country. I will get every migrant criminal out of our country, and I'll get them out fast. We have to. We have no choice. And they're taking over our country. You see what they're doing. Kamala Harris's border invasion is also crushing the jobs and wages of African-American workers and Hispanic-American workers, and also union members. Unions are next. You watch. They are working and hurting what's going on with African-American workers and with Hispanic in particular. They're taking your jobs. They're taking your jobs. Every job produced in this country over the last 2 years has gone to illegal aliens. Every job. Think of it. When you cast your ballot for Trump this November, it means that America's borders will be instantly secured. Can you believe what they've done? What they have done to our country with millions and millions of people walking right through our border. It means the price of household goods will start to plummet. Groceries and rent will no longer break your budgets. And you will have thousands of dollars of savings by the end of the year. Let me just tell you, we're going to get your energy costs down in 1 year. We're going to get your energy costs down by 50%. We'll cut it in half. We're going to cut it in half. It means young people will once again be able to afford a mortgage and a home.
And she was headed to nursing school.
Merci beaucoup, merci. Nous t'étendons ancien président Donald Trump. Demandé pour retourner dans la politique américaine comme America First, tant pour renforcer loi immigration et augmenter production énergie. Il a souligné l'importance gis conservative, il a nommé qui a mené renversement Roe Wade.
We can't take it anymore. Kamala, you're the worst vice president in history. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. You're fired. Get out of here. So let's talk about our great women, all right? These women have gone through a lot. They've gone through a lot. Women are poorer than they were 4 years ago, are less healthy than they were 4 years ago, are less safe on the streets than they were 4 years ago, are paying much higher prices for groceries and everything else than they were 4 years ago, are more stressed and depressed and unhappy than they were 4 years ago, and are less optimistic and confident in the future than they were just 4 years ago. I will fix all of that, women. I will fix all of that, and I will fix it fast. And at long last, this national nightmare that we're going through will be over. Women will be happy, healthy, confident, and free. You will no longer be thinking about abortion because it is now where it always had to be, with the states and with the vote of the people. The people are now voting, and many of those votes are far more liberal than we thought. But every legal scholar, every Republican and Democrat for years didn't want it in federal. They wanted it in the states and a vote of the people. And that's what's happening right now. And with the powerful exceptions like those that Ronald Reagan insisted on the exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother, but not allowing for Democrat-demanded late-term abortion in the 7th, 8th, and 9th month, or even execution of a baby after birth, which is what they want. I asked her about it during the debate, and she didn't want to answer it. I said, are you willing to have an abortion on a woman in the 9th month? And she didn't want to answer. The answer is yes. And think of it, even after birth. It's called execution. I will protect women at a level never seen before. They will finally be healthy, hopeful, safe, and secure. Their lives will be happy, beautiful, and their lives will be great again. So women, we love you. We're going to take care of you.
Roe Wade, c'était un cas important dans Cour suprême États-Unis qui était passé dans l'année 1973. Côté tribunal là, te légalisé avortement dans tout pays. Décision est basée sur droit privé qui joint dans 14e amendement constitution qui protège droit yon femme pour lui choisir faire un avortement. Suprême là te renversé Roe Wade, ça qui bail état yo pouvoir pour adopter loi avortement plus sévère. So Kamala Harris li même nan Bapal te nan Georgia. Kamala Harris te ba yon gros point sous droit avortement. Li critique Trump pour renversement, protection, avortement ak politique républicaine qui limite accès soins santé pour femmes. En temps de déclaration, vice-président Kamala Harris n'a retourné merci.
BG. With the intention that they would overturn the protections of Roe v. Wade, and as he intended, they did. And now more than 20 states have Trump abortion bans. Extremists that have passed laws that criminalize healthcare providers, doctors, and nurses, and punish women. In 2 states of those states, they provide for prison for life. Prison for life for healthcare providers for simply providing reproductive care, the care they so earnestly and rightly believe must be delivered. All Trump abortion bans. And think about this. Many of these bans make no exception even for rape and incest. Violence to their body, a violation of their body, would not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next? That's immoral. That's immoral. And let us agree, and I know we do, one does not have to abandon their faith or deeply held beliefs to agree. The government should not be telling her what to do. If she chooses, she will talk with her pastor, her priest, her rabbi, her imam. But it should not be the government or Donald Trump telling her what to do with her body. And her name, and we will speak her name, Amber Nicole Thurman. Amber Nicole Thurman. Amber Nicole Thurman. That's right. And she had her future all planned out. And it was her plan. You know, let's understand, just take pause on that for a moment. She had her plan, what she wanted to do for her son, for herself, for their future. And so when she discovered that she was pregnant, she decided she wanted to have an abortion. But because of the Trump abortion ban here in Georgia, she was forced to travel out of state to receive the health care that she needed. But when she returned to Georgia, she needed additional care. So she went to a hospital. But you see, under the Trump abortion ban, her doctors could have faced up to a decade in prison for providing Amber the care she needed. Understand what a law like this means. Doctors have to wait until the patient is at death's door before they take action. You know, on the other side of my, you know, the other folks, Trump and his running mate, and they'll talk about, oh, well, yeah, but I do believe in the exception to save the mother's life. Okay, all right, let's break that down, shall we? Let's break that down. Let's break that down. So we're saying that we're gonna create public policy that says that a doctor, a healthcare provider, will only kick in to give the care that somebody needs if they're about to die? Think about what we are saying right now. You're saying that good policy, logical policy, moral policy, humane policy is about saying that a healthcare provider will only start providing that care when you're about to die?
Nous t'étendons à vice-président Kamala Harris qui critique Trump pour renversement, protection, avortement et politique républicaine qui limitait accès soins santé pour femmes. Vice-président Kamala Harris pour pour défendre la femme et continuer à faire progrès dans l'économie. J.D. Vance dans Pennsylvania. J.D. Vance te critiqué Biden avec président Biden avec vice-président Harris sur dossier immigration. Il promet renforcement contrôle frontière et protéger le travail américain. En temps de déclaration, J.D. Vance n'a pas retourné.
This is because every time she does, I think we pick up about 100,000 votes. So I think I've figured out the secret, though. The reason Kamala doesn't get very many interviews is because every time she does, I think we pick up about 100,000 votes. Three and a half years ago, Kamala Harris suspended deportations. She stopped Donald Trump's wildly successful Remain in Mexico policy, and she radically increased asylum fraud in this country, opening the southern border and flooding communities like this one with deadly fentanyl and a lot of crime. But now, Kamala Harris says, no, I didn't mean to do that. And we figured it out. She can't be trusted. You're exactly right. But I think what I've figured out is that Kamala Harris knows that she's not going to win this race, so she's auditioning for my job. And I told the president, sir, you got to be worried because she's going to show up at one of these rallies with a long red tie and a Make America Great Again hat. But here in Pennsylvania and all across our country, we are not going to let Kamala Harris forget that she opened the border, that she went to war with the police, that she tried to ban fracking, and she is fired on November the 5th, and we're not going to let her get away from it. A dozen eggs, almost $4 in the state of Pennsylvania. You know, when Donald Trump was president, you know what a dozen eggs cost in this country? About $1.50. In the state of Pennsylvania, one of the worst, actually, I didn't know this until recently. You know, y'all have had one of the worst grocery price inflation in the entire country. A gallon of milk costs $4.28. Thanks, Kamala Harris. A dozen eggs costs almost $4. Thanks, Kamala Harris. A price of ground beef went from just shy of $4 a pound to $6 a pound because Kamala Harris cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Explosion Act. And as Kamala Harris, she is, you know, my friends, I haven't been in politics long enough to be as shameless as Kamala Harris and stand before the people of Pennsylvania and America and say on day one, she's going to tackle the affordability crisis affecting American families. Kamala, day one was 1,400 days ago. What the hell have you been doing that whole time? If she wants to do something to fix the very problem she created, there is nothing stopping her. You get to work right now, Kamala Harris. Stop talking about what you're going to do and actually go out there and do it. Now, it's not just grocery prices. It's everything is more expensive in this country. Americans cannot afford to live a good life in this country because of Kamala Harris's policies. It's crazy. Now think about this. Donald Trump and I believe in a very simple principle, that if you work hard and play by the rules, you ought to be able to get ahead in this country that all of us love. Isn't that simple? That is right, man. That is the American dream. And you know, one of the most critical parts of the American dream is being able to afford a home. And right now, thanks to Kamala Harris's policies, homes are skyrocketing. Mortgage interest rates are as high as they've been in a generation. And a lot of young Americans feel like they cannot afford a home in this country. And I think that's disgraceful. One of the reasons why we got to get Donald Trump back in the White House is because we want young Americans to be able to afford to own a stake in this country. And they will when we get Donald Trump back. Now, here's the thing. This is not rocket science, right? Why have homes gotten so expensive? Well, two reasons. Number one, Kamala Harris cast the tie-breaking vote, the deciding vote on the Inflation Explosion Act. That shot interest rates through the roof. And you know, the other thing Kamala Harris did is that her border policies welcomed 25 million illegal aliens into this country. People who shouldn't be here. People who are competing against you and your children to buy the homes that ought by rights go to American citizens. So our message to Kamala Harris is stop giving American homes to foreigners who shouldn't be in this country. Start giving them to American citizens who deserve to be here and ought to be able to afford a stake. Now, unfortunately, my friends, we know that it is not just higher housing prices and higher grocery prices and, yes, overcrowded schools. That's not the only consequences of illegal immigration, thanks to Kamala Harris's open border, because there's a lot of crime. There's a lot of crime committed by people who shouldn't be in this country to begin with.
Sénateur J.D. Vance et de critiquer administration président Biden et vice-président Kamala Harris. Donc, les promettent pour renforcer le contrôle frontière et protéger le travail américain. Il était tout attaqué Harris pour échec politique lié, spécialement dans la question sécurité publique et énergie. Cependant, un message du gouvernement Tim Roth dans Pennsylvania concentré sur support pour familles, assurer accès à soins santé et protéger l'intégrité démocratie à travers le droit pour moun voter.
Active contributions of Puerto Ricans and the entire Latino community. And for so many of their families, we recognize a painful anniversary of the landfall of Hurricane Maria, which continues to have a devastating impact. In March, Vice President Harris visited San Juan. She pledged to continue supporting the reconstruction. And when she and I are in the White House, you can count on our support. But what you learn is your community is your family. You take care of one another. You look out for them. You lift them up. Kamala Harris says that. We didn't grow up in the same place, but we grew up around the same people. People who worked hard for a living. People who understand how to pay their bills and wanted to see their children get ahead. Understood, as Anthony always talks about, the power of a teacher in public education to make a difference.
So nous capable dire élection 2024 là présenter une gros contradiction entre ancien président Trump et vice-président Kamala Harris. Trump promet un retour dans valeur conservative pendant vice-président Harris mettait absent sur droit femme à protection environnement. Sénateur Vance même Jean ak Trump. Tout de mettre importance. C'était toute information ça nous t'ai porté pour vous. C'était Fabienne Divina. Nous vous merci pour attention, merci pour vous-même qui te ba nous toute attention. Sous mes vidéos ça, ba nous un like et fait commentaire, partager comme ça pour travailler capable aller plus loin. Et merci beaucoup. À la prochaine. Bonne journée. Bye bye.